Something I wanted to point out were the stark differences in production quality of the solo performances, particularly between Jennie and Rosé's. And I have some theories for why that is, but first I just want to briefly go over some of the highlights of the show. In terms of fashion, I'd say the outfits were a hit or miss. I was especially worried when they opened the show with Kill This Love and Lisa came out in a kiwi green feathery dress. If I'm to be completely honest, it looked like Big Bird had thrown up on her. She zimzalabin big time here. And although I was super pumped to finally see the choreo for Crazy Over You, I couldn't take Lisa seriously in her glittery kiwi dress. Next was their Don't Know What to Do stage, which I thought was very artistically done. It starts out in an igloo-like maze with the girls seemingly lost on their own paths. But then they find each other and come together at the end of the tunnel, and I don't know, but this stage gave me feels, okay? If that moment right there wasn't symbolic of BLACKPINK's journey, I really don't know what to tell you. Probably one of my favorite images of the night. I also noticed that they stripped away the EDM, which I thought was very tasteful for this particular stage. But let's not talk about their outfits here. I thought the grunge aesthetic was very reminiscent of their Boombaya era, which is like one of my favorite eras. But from the waist down, everything just took a downturn. Let's just say I have a love-hate relationship with window pants, okay? Moving on, I'm glad they finally performed Sour Candy. I thought it was super playful and cute and could have been a great segue into a performance like Ice Cream, which surprisingly they didn't perform. But if I had to choose between Sour Candy or Ice Cream, or even like Crazy Over You over Ice Cream, I'm glad they showed us stages they had never shown us before. And then lastly, my favorite performance of the night, which was Duru Duru. This particular performance just blew me away. The darkening of the stage with the blood red glow really set the mood because let's be real, they really came for our throats in this performance. Jennie coming out with her opening rap, parting the sea of muscular male backup dancers was iconic. And I have that image seared into my brain, not to mention perhaps the greatest utilization of a water pit I have ever seen. And God, don't even get me started on their dance break. The way the water splashed to each beat and stomp of the foot just added another layer of power. And then the music rises and everything culminates into the final scene where the members do finger buns and the finger buns. Fuck. And then the music rises and everything culminates into the final scene where the members do their iconic finger guns and the male dancers collapse to the ground. Let me tell you when I say that everything about this stage was iconic and it easily earned its position as my favorite performance of the night. It was amazing. I think it might even be my favorite BLACKPINK performance of all time. So let's go through each solo one by one. First up is Jisoo's cover of Habits by Tovlo. Let me just start off by saying I'm glad she sang the intro in Korean and they changed the lyrics around. Definitely not a family-friendly song. This performance reminded me of her Clarity cover, but to be completely honest, I much prefer that song over this. I don't think the song suits Jisoo's voice, and there's even a line in the song that reads, "High all the time, too high." And those are my exact thoughts when I heard this cover. It's a bit too high for her. Habit seems like a song that would fit Rosé's voice pretty well. Sour Candy is pretty unpopular compared to other BLACKPINK songs, but Jisoo's voice really shines in that, in my opinion. Jisoo has a really nice, rich vocal color, and I'd like her to get a song that does it justice. As a side note, the purple outfit Jisoo was wearing was definitely my favorite outfit of the night for her. Next up is Lisa's cover of Doja Cat's Say So, and it's another instance where I thought the song didn't suit the voice. The performance itself was stellar. Lisa looked like a 1920s flapper girl with her black and gold sequin dress, looking exceptionally swanky as she danced and twirled around with her mic stand. But Say So isn't her song. It made her sound almost whiny, which is such a shame because I think Lisa's voice is criminally underappreciated and we don't get to hear enough of her in BLACKPINK's discography. If you want an instance of where I think Lisa's voice shines the most, look up her parts in You Never Know and Nat King Cole's LOVE cover with Rosé. As for the rest of the performance, the rap and her dance break on the LED tile floor she totally owned. Those parts definitely felt like La Lisa. Jisoo even gave her the nickname Leonce, and to be honest, I want that printed on a shirt ASAP. So let's move on to the solo songs that were made specifically for the BLACKPINK members, not just covers of other people's songs. Jennie's solo performance had a beautiful red oriental backdrop in which she wore a matching red rose dress. Her hair was tied into braided buns, her cheeks dusted with a rosy blush, and from the stage to the song to the wardrobe to the fire English rap, everything just fit. It felt cohesive and well thought out, and it gave very similar vibes to this part and How You Like That. This is probably my favorite scene in the music video, so this solo performance really hit hard. This is kind of an aside, but when the red fabric fell from the ceiling, I really thought our Jennie was about to do some aerial acrobatics or something. That would have been the K-pop performance of 2021, and it would have only been January. But as I was saying, solo felt like it was part of the original lineup, and it definitely left the biggest impression on me after the concert was over. I mean, who does a minute-long rap? Overall, Jennie's performance felt the most polished. In contrast, we have Rosé's Gone, which was stripped of all high production and felt more raw and vulnerable. The stage was completely bare, save for a few fog machines, 2 fabric swings hanging from the ceiling, and a simple white curtain backdrop. It reminded me of this stage the girls did on Inkagayo a few years ago. Perhaps this simplicity was the intention all along, since Gone has a much more wistful sound to it than Solo, which is more upbeat. The stage had almost an ethereal feel to it, the fog on the ground like clouds, while an angel sang sitting on a swing. Even Rosé's mic was stripped of color, a pure white instead of the usual pink. Despite the attention to small details like this, and perhaps simplicity was truly the intention for this performance, I still can't help but feel like Rosé's stage was pulled together last minute. Honestly, it's YG, so it wouldn't surprise me. I'm hoping they go all out when her solo promotions begin officially. Out of respect for Rosé and the BLACKPINK members, I won't go too into detail about the contents of her solo song because I want to do a full review when she officially releases it. The actual song itself is really good and probably one of my favorite songs to come from BLACKPINK. And it's just a B-side. That's crazy. YG, I am on my hands and knees. Please don't let us wait 1 year before releasing Rosé's album. So overall, the solo performances, although a special treat and probably my favorite part of the concert, gave the impression that they were thrown in last minute as an extra boost to help promote Rosé's solo. Again, it seemed like Jennie's solo was the only act part of the original lineup just because of how intricate her stage setup was compared to the other members. Now, the big issue for me with the show. I just want to start by saying that it was advertised as a live stream concert, but it was never indicated that almost the entirety of it, or the entirety, was pre-recorded. Personally, when I heard that BLACKPINK was having an online concert, I assumed it was going to be pre-recorded, as they'd have more creative liberties if it was done this way, but a lot of people were surprised and said they expected a live concert. I definitely think they should have been more transparent about this so that the audience would have known beforehand exactly what they were going to purchase. Live or not, the girls still gave us live vocals, and in my opinion, that's all that matters. Their solo stages alone were worth the price. The only improvement I'd have to suggest is to eventually make the concert video on demand, or like a VOD. Overall, this was my first BLACKPINK concert, and for $30 I got to watch 4 of my favorite girls perform their stages like never before, and to me, it was worth the price. What are your thoughts about the show? Did you think it was worth the price, or did you think it was too expensive? Let me know in the comments if you thought something similar.